Hi guys, this is Dr. Brazier and this is your syllabus review. So, you are in Biology 2401 and this is the 6001 course section for the lecture and 6002 course section for the lab. This is being held in summer 2019 and as I said, my name is Heather Brazier. People tend to call me Dr. B. You can find me in the Center for Science and Innovation on the second floor, room 214. Now, if you need to contact me, you can either see me immediately following class or by appointment, or you can contact me through D2L communication. This is my email right here, but I ask students to contact me through D2L to make sure that there isn't any issue, i.e., if there's any errors with the emailing system, D2L logs everything. So if something happens and it doesn't get sent to me, you're covered in regards to that because I can just put a request really easily into D2L and they can check and figure out what's going on. I can't do that with other email systems, as in if you have a Yahoo or even generally sometimes it's much harder with the lonestar.edus. So I ask that you contact me if you do it by email only through D2L email. I do provide my phone number up here for a texting option, but this is only for emergency. So make sure to use this if there's something that needs immediate assistance and that it needs to be something with me. And we'll talk more about what that is. Now, when are we going to meet? We are going to meet Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. And this is for the lab section. The lecture section is going to be online. If you were doing the lecture online, you would be meeting Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 8 to 12:15. Keep that in mind. So each week, you're going to be doing roughly about 8 hours of course time for lecture, 8 hours of course time for lab. So that's a minimum of 16 hours that you should be spending a week on A&P. Now, with this being said, this doesn't include additional homework and or studying for exams. So keep that in mind. This is a 96 credit hour course. The state of Texas requires that the minimum face-to-face time be 96 hours for the course. And so, yes, you're getting this done in 6 weeks versus 16. So it is going to be extremely fast, and it's 4 credit hours versus 3. The extra 1 credit hour comes in form of the lab time, which is that 1 extra credit incorporates this extra 8 hours. So keep that in mind as you go through this course, that it wouldn't be anything for you guys to spend. I know when I teach this in the 8-week during the regular semester, students tell me that they normally spend 25 hours or so a week studying for that. And this is an even faster course. So keep that in mind. Now we will be meeting in CSI 336 for the lab. If you're interested in the course overview, you can go to this link to get the information. And basically what this course covers is the study of the structure and function of the human body. So we're going to focus on a bit of a review over general biology, studying cells, and then we're going to go into tissue, and then we're going to talk about the anatomical and physiological interrelationships of things such as the integumentary system, which is skin, the skeletal system, the muscular, and the nervous system. There'll be a few other things that we hit on throughout the semester. And this is primarily designed for people entering into the health career. These are the student learner outcomes and what you should be able to do holistically by the end of the semester. Here are the prerequisites. It's strongly recommended that you take something like, their recommendation is Biology 1408 or Biology 2404. What that is 1408 is biology for non-majors, 2404 is introductory anatomy and physiology. You could even take biology 1406, which is what I normally recommend to students, which is biology for science majors. If you've taken science in the past few years, say you've just graduated from high school or you've been in college and you've taken one of these biology courses, you should be fine. If you have not taken biology in a long time, I'm just going to warn you, and this is me telling you because I want everybody to never go into a situation with their eyes closed or something covering, veiling whether or not they can see the true outcome. You're going to have to work even harder than the people who have just recently taken science, because the first week is all review, and it's a lot of material because this, if you've noticed, it is a 2401, which means it's a sophomore level course. Quite a few years ago, the state removed the requirement of actually having a general biology class in front of this. It helped with funding and reducing the amount of money required for prerequisites for nursing. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people don't have the background that they need to be successful in the course or the time. So if you haven't taken science in the past couple of years, it doesn't mean that you're going to do awful. It just means that there's a strong likelihood you're going to have to spend a lot more time, especially at the beginning of the course, catching up to people who've had the prereqs that are encouraged to take. Now, what you'll want to get is a dissection kit. You can pick these up in the bookstore. You can also get them online. This is the Anatomy and Physiology textbook we're using. It's MIRAB, Human Anatomy and Physiology. You can get it at the bookstore. It's loose leaf there, and they're going to have a Mastering A&P access card. Or you can get it online. You can even purchase it without getting a hard copy of the book online through the Mastering link that I'm going to provide within your course. And so you just can click on that and pay for it with credit card and have access to the online book. You will need the online access code for the homework. Here's your lab manual. It's Ammerman. It's Exploring Anatomy and Physiology in the Laboratory. This is for the whole manual that you can get online. The custom manuals, you can buy in the bookstore as well. Now, my suggestion is if you're going to have to take Biology 2401 and 2402, a lot of times I say just get the whole manual. That way you don't have to worry about it later. But you can get the custom for 2401 and then later get the custom for 2402. I can warn you, sometimes with the bookstore though, they run out on the 2402 custom manual. So it can be a bit of a pain in the backside. So most of the time I just tell students if they have the money, go ahead and buy the entire book if you're going to take both sequences. This tells you how to get registered. You're going to actually go through the link in D2L to register for the course. Now, how does attendance work? You're required to attend every single face-to-face laboratory class. If you miss even a single day, I'm going to email you. If you miss more than one day, you will be dropped from the course. It's really important that you come to all lab sessions because we're going to have what are called lab exams, otherwise known as lab practicals. And if you miss a day of class, essentially you're missing all the interactions, all the lecture I'm giving you, and seeing what you need to see for the lab exams. Also realize that it's a 6-week course. So 1 week is equivalent to about 2.5 to 3 weeks of a regular course if you miss one day. If you miss, 1 day is equivalent to about 2 weeks or a week in a regular course. So that's the reason why I tend to be extremely harsh on attendance. Another reason why I'm extremely harsh on attendance, because it's been demonstrated time and time again that if you attend, you're more likely to have a higher GPA and do better in the course. So I expect everybody to be in class every single day for the entire 6 weeks. Now, what you do online is a little bit different. You're expected to log in twice a week and work on the material. Now, if you log in once a week and finish everything in one sitting towards the beginning of the week, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to drop you for being, robust and getting your work done. What I am going to do, though, is I will look throughout the week to see if you're logging in and send you reminders to log in if you're not. And if you fail to complete assignments, you will be dropped. The class goes so quickly, guys, that if you get behind at the beginning, it makes it really hard to catch up. And so much of the lessons are interconnected, which means for the first week, we're learning general biology concepts. And it may seem like it's very kind of independent of itself, but for instance, if you want to learn and understand water balance, you have to understand things like osmosis or tonicity when you're talking about osmotic pressure. So these words may seem a little foreign to you now, but you'll realize that if you don't understand one concept, especially towards the beginning, then it's going to make it much harder later to kind of bridge those concepts into the physiology of the course. So try to keep going, try to remain, diligent and focused in the course, and realize it's only 6 weeks, and then your hell will be over. Now, tardy, if you looked at my rated professor, you might have seen a review. I read those as well, just to kind of get an idea of what people are saying about the course. And I'm really big on tardiness and making sure that you're to class on time. I understand it's a really early morning class, and I'll be completely honest, I'm not big with really early morning classes, but I teach them during the summertime because I know it's what students want. They want to be able to get in, get their class done, and then either spend the rest of the day studying, enjoying the sun, or working. So I tend to teach 8 a.m. classes only during the summertime. If you get me during the regular semester, it's never before 11:15. Anyway, the point being is I'll be there on time, and I'm not a morning person. So I expect you to be there on time. And your other classmates will be on time, which means if you come in late, someone has to essentially stop listening to my instruction and walk over to the door and open it. And then the door is at the front of the course, so you're going to have to walk in front of everybody, disrupting them from the lesson that I'm teaching. This could be a big problem because somebody in your class you may not know may have something like attention deficit disorder. And what may take you 1 moment to be able to refocus could take them 10 or 15 minutes. So please be respectful of the other classmates and your fellow students in the class, and make sure to come to class on time. Tardiness is also not an excuse for submitting late assignments. So every single day in class, except for the very first day on Monday, you will have to turn in an assignment. So what this means is you're required to turn it in at the beginning of the class. I give you until the point that I normally start the lecture to turn it in and not be late, which basically means I start right on time, guys. So my suggestion to you is to be there a couple minutes beforehand. I never start later than about 8:04, 8:05 doing the lecture because I want to make sure we have enough time for you guys not to feel rushed. Yes, it may sound awful to start and try to start on time and not give that flexibility in the morning to give everybody time to get there. But like I said, you would rather me start on time than rush you through a concept and you not understand it. So that's the reason why I'm so diligent about us making sure we get started on time. Now, if you come in, there is a point after about 15 minutes that I no longer accept your assignments anymore. If you're in the classroom, I will not allow you to turn in the assignments. Once you enter the door, at that moment, you need to turn your assignment in immediately. I'd have it in my hand just to put it in the front. I do take off points for it being late. And once I actually start the course, I generally don't accept them anymore. So make sure you come in on time and you're considered absent after 20 minutes of class. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm not understanding, guys. If something happens with your kids in the morning, they're sick, they're fussy, something with their babysitter, text me. If something happens with your car in the morning, text me. If you just happen to oversleep, because it happens sometimes, text me before you leave. It's habitual lateness that I have a problem with. It's not those every once in a while kind of circumstances that happen to us all. We should always have some kind of empathy for that. But it's that person that comes in late every single day of class. That is the person I have problems with. If you can't get to an 8 o'clock class, don't sign up for an 8 o'clock class. If you live 45 minutes away, make sure to leave an hour and 15 minutes, before class to make sure you're on time. When I first started this job, I lived in League City, Texas, which is on the south side of Houston, and I always came to class on time. So keep this in mind as you are getting ready for these next few weeks. Now let me tell you how your grade is actually calculated. The lecture grade is worth 510 points. 300 points of the lecture grade goes towards lecture assignments. There will be 4 lecture assignments, each is worth 100 points, which means the lowest exam will be dropped. This helps in case something happens. You miss an assignment or you miss a lecture exam, no big deal. You can drop it, right? So make sure that you are doing the best that you can and that you are getting all your lecture exams done before the end of class time, which is 11:59 on the date stated in the tentative syllabus. Now the first semester exam, I tell you what's covered. So that's lessons 1 through 4. That's the introduction, which is the introduction to anatomy and physiology. Chemistry, biomolecules, and cells, lesson 2. Cells, lesson 3. And then cellular respiration, which is lesson 4. And what this tells you here is what the chapters are and if there's anything omitted. For instance, here is chapter 2 and part of chapter 3. And this is the rest of chapter 3. And this is chapter 24, only a few sections of it. So you can read through here to get an idea of what's on every single lecture exam. Now the mastery and homework is worth 130 points. There are actually 15 homework assignments for the semester, and the lowest 2 homeworks will be dropped. They are available through Mastering A&P, and you can get through these through your D2L, and I'll show you that in the course overview. The homework assignments are designed and administered to promote mastery of course objectives addressed in each unit of the study. So basically, once you start, you'll have until the deadline to complete and submit your attempts. The system actually does allow for multiple attempts, which means if you get it wrong, it'll only take a small percentage off of that individual question and allow you to re-answer it. It will also give you, if you need any help, some hints to help you answer it and reference you back to the book material. These will help you prepare for semester exams and the final exams. And the homeworks are correlated to the topics that you address or the chapters in the book. And what I've done here is 1 through 4 is for the first exam, and then you can see 5 through 8 is bolded. That's for the second exam. This is for the third, and this is for the fourth. And actually, there's a small mistyping in here. No, this is right. Sorry. This is absolutely right. So the homework is due by 11:59 p.m. the night before the exam that covers the homework. And you can look at the tentative syllabus for the exact date. And the last thing we have is the dynamic study modules. There will be assignments to help master each topic. The sum of the highest grade for the dynamic study modules will be 80 points total. The lowest grades will be dropped. So instead of saying how many I drop here, each one depending on how many there are for each chapter. So these could be worth anywhere from 0.75 points to about 4 points, depending on how many modules there are for each chapter. So instead of having each saying you can drop so many for each chapter, since some of them can have like 5 parts, I just let you drop a combination of whichever ones you have. I just stopped counting at 80. The laboratory grade, so all of that is what's online. The laboratory grades are for following. It is 340 points, and the laboratory assignments constitutes 140 points of that. Each lab will have a pre-lab and a post-lab activity, and a portion that's going to be graded for your lab daily grade. This is in addition to the lab assignments performed in class. Pre-labs are due before the class they're assigned. You must turn them in at the front of the class before the class starts. There will be a 10% penalty if you turn it in after class begins. Late, pre-lab, and post-labs will not be accepted after 15 minutes, so keep that in mind. Each lab is worth 10 points, 2.5 points pre-lab, plus 5 points lab participation while you're in there, and 2.5 points post-lab. If you come to class on time, you cannot work on your pre and post lab while I'm actually talking and going over the material. So they are due to me when you're, before you take a seat in class or before we start. Lab practicals are worth 200 points. There are 4 of these, which means every one is worth 50. None of these are dropped. Let me repeat this. No lab practicals are dropped. The only exams that are dropped is one lecture exam. And you have a comprehensive final exam, and that covers all the lecture material. So makeup on the homework, there is no makeup on the homework. You're given plenty of time. Instead of it being open just one day, you'll have however many days you need to complete it. Get ahead if you like. I've had people complete the class, the actual lecture part of it, as early as 4 weeks before. And that was in a regular 16-week class. I've had people finish by the deadlines. Whichever you like to do is fine with me. It's just there is no extension for or makeup for mastering homework. The lecture exams will be administered once for the semester. They'll be open several days, so schedule them cautiously. Due to the fact that you have multiple day access to the exam, there's no retakes of lecture exams either. In the unfortunate circumstance that you're later unable to make up a laboratory exam, I can evaluate your situation and see if it was an emergency. Now, if you just come in late to a lab practical exam, you have the remainder of the time left. You will not be given any extra amount of time to complete it. And this is totally at the discretion of me if I decide to let you make up the lab exam. Most of the time, it's a different version of the lab exam. If you know for whatever reason that you're not going to be able to be there for a lab exam, you need to tell me in advance, and we can try to get you to take the lab exam with another instructor, or you can take it with me at an earlier time. Now, if you know you're going to miss a lab, we can also email a different instructor and see if they have any space in their lab room for you to actually have the lab so that you don't miss it. But then that again is you have to email me in advance. You can't email me after a class and ask to be able to make up that lab, because I can't promise that there are any classes afterwards that will be able to accommodate you. Students that miss more than an exam will receive a 0 for any other missed exams. Final exam, it's the same thing. The final exam, guys, will be opened at the beginning of the week. So you have plenty of time to retake it. Or to not retake it, but to take it. So there's no retakes of the exam permitted. In the unfortunate circumstance that you're unable to take the final exam, I can evaluate your situation. In the case of an emergency, an incomplete can be assigned to by the discretion of me in accordance to college policy. If you have an emergency, you must contact me within 24 hours of the final exam by D2L email to inform of the emergency and to request a makeup exam. There must be documented evidence of the emergency. At the discretion of your instructor, you may be allowed to take a different version of the missed exam, and this will be longer and more challenging than the original. Why? Other people have already taken it, so people can get a heads up to what's on it, and B, the students had more time to study for it. Lab experiments. If you miss a lab session, you will not be given additional time to finish the lab. If you're unable to complete it in the allotted time, or you will miss the opportunity to perform it. Excused absences will only be considered under extenuating circumstances, and it's at my discretion. In order for this to happen, you'll need to give me official paperwork, medical paperwork, funeral acknowledgments, and newspapers, etc. Please turn off all cell phones and put electronics away unless it's to further your academic progress. I don't want them on the table. I want them put in your pocket and or in your book bags. I do not want anything on your actual table. It's very distracting, not just to you, but the other students if it goes off. You can use them again for the course, like to take pictures of stuff as you do them. But I would suggest you keep them put up until you take pictures, because putting them on the table, something may spill or ruin the phone, and it's not up to anybody in the class to purchase or reimburse you for the phone if it gets damaged, because you shouldn't have it out. Now, the department chair is Chris Allen. Here's his phone number. The Dean of Math and Science, which is actually my supervisor. I'm a full-time biology faculty member here. Department chair, just to let you know, is for adjunct faculty. So this is who you would contact. Now, Mark Stevens will ask you if you've talked to me in regards to the problem that you have. If you haven't, then he's going to advise you to contact me. So any problems that you have, please contact me first and see if we can resolve them. If you're not happy with the resolution that I give you, then it's free to contact Dean Stevens, and ask him for help. Now, he will contact me and get my side of the story as well. And I do have academic freedom on how I handle my courses. So keep that in mind. I'm a pretty reasonable person, but I need documentation for extenuating circumstances to keep things equitable and fair for everyone. Now, this is just telling you how the grade is determined. Lecture exams, there's 4 exams, 100 points, but remember I dropped one. So that's 300 points or 30% of your grade. Homework, which is mastering A&P, there's 13 assignments, each 10. Remember, you can drop 2. That's 130 points or 13%. Dynamic study modules, the sum of 80. Each chapter is worth roughly 5 points, and that is 80 points or 8%. Lab assignments, 14 labs at 10 points each is 140 points. Lab practicals, 4 practicals at 50 points is 200 points or 20. And the comprehensive final is worth 15% or 150 points. That's a total of 1,000 points or 100%. Please keep in mind, I do not calculate the grade based on percentages. I do it based on points. So you have to have 900 points to get an A. 899.99 is not 900 points. I do not round. Keep that in mind, right? I will not be rounding up. I give a small amount of extra credit for this course. Because of that, if you did the extra credit, then if you're at 899.75, if you didn't do the extra credit, you wouldn't have been there. So I'm not going to round you up. If you're 899.75 and you didn't do any of the extra credit, then you didn't do the additional things to make sure you got to the point you wanted. So I'm not going to round up. So keep that in mind as you go through. You need 900 points for an A, 800 for B, 700 for a C, 600 for D, and less than 600 is an F. So as you go through the course, you can do percentages to look to see roughly where you are, but you can always say, how many more points do I need to earn to get to 900 points? And then you can look at the assignments that you have and figure that out. Just remember, I do not give grades. I merely assign them. And I assign them based on the grades you earn on the assignments I give. Do not expect a curve or that I'll round up. Your final grade reflects an entire semester of effort. Make sure you work hard enough to earn the grade you want. Withdrawal date. If you aren't doing your work, I will send you an email. I will withdraw you if you're not keeping up with stuff. But the only way I will withdraw you is if you actually get an email from me saying I am withdrawing you. The rest of these things you'll need to read through, and they're standard college policy. There is first time in college students during the fall 2007 term or later, subject to 51.907 of the Texas Education Code. That institutions are not permitted a student to drop more than 6 courses, including courses that are a transfer student had previously dropped at other institutions. So they will count against you and you will have to pay out of state tuition. If you're having problems with academic goals, there are a bunch of needs that you or your academic needs. You can talk to the ADA accommodations office. and about either problems with learning or classroom difficulties, financial concerns, and other issues. So let's talk about the sources there. Tutoring, you can call this number for hours and locations. You can go to any of the reading, writing, math labs. We have the hotspot, which is on the first floor of the CSI. They have all kinds of things there, including tutors in any of the different models that we use in the lab that you can use there. There's also learning centers in Building 12 on the 8th floor in the library. There's counseling services. You can go to career, counseling, or disability services. And this is their number or the building and suite that you can go to talk to them. They include experiencing difficulties with emotion, like regular counseling, academic issues, or even career planning and disability services. They can refer you to outside counselors as well. You can do the Assistant Technology Lab. It's available for students who benefit from its various technologies, like things of text to speech, magnifying items, or even Braille. This is, you can go to the Building 12 in the 8th floor into the library and get information on that. You can go to the Writing Lab to help with any papers. The library is on the 8th floor in Building 12, and you can get help from reference librarians if you need help with research. And you can go to their site to learn about their hours and contact information. Academic integrity is very important. Integrity in general is important to me. It came from the Midwest, and that's just one of the things that I've learned or I was raised with. So, if you are cheating in any form and I catch you, I will have a conference with you, and the following things can happen. I can impose additional requirements. I can give you a 0 or an F for the exam or the assignment. I can actually give you an F for the course. So you cheat on one assignment, I can just say F. I can withdraw you from the course, or you can be expelled from the college. This is really serious stuff. At four-year universities, they do it where you have to sit in an actual courtroom, and you basically have your peers along with staff and faculty that listen to the case from the instructor side and the student side, and it can be permanently put onto your academic records forever. So keep that in mind as you go through here. Your behavior is very important to me as well. As in, I will not allow for there to be any disrespect in the classroom. What I mean by that is we are all trying to have a, cooperative environment where we can learn and we can work together. And perception is everything, guys. I wish it wasn't, but we live in a world full of perception. So, these are some of the things that I will make sure that are happening in the class. For instance, with electronics, turn them off, put them away. If you have an emergency where your kids or something may happen, tell me at the beginning of the class. I'm not, uncompromising in emergency situations. You just have to let me know what's happening. Now, this is not something that you can do every single day. You can't have an emergency every single day. So keep that in mind. The first offense, I'll warn you and I'll allow you to stay in the class, but I'll tell you to go ahead and put your phone up. The second offense, you'll be asked to leave the class and you'll receive an absence and a 0 for that day. So keep that in mind. During exams, no electronics will be allowed. You can't even have them in your pocket. You need to put them up. If you have any of these devices out or in your pocket during the exam, they'll be taken away from you and you will receive a 0 for that exam. Laptops are only permitted in class if you're doing an assignment with them. Please do not have them out. Please do not use them to take notes. They've already been tons of research that says handwritten notes help you to remember stuff somewhere up to like 4 times better than if you type them on the computer. Also, if you watch videos or you're doing other homework, you can be disruptive to other students. So the first offense, again, I will warn and you'll be allowed to stay in the class. The second offense, I'll be asking you to leave and you'll get a 0 for the day. And what really hurts about leaving and getting a 0, you've lost those points and you cannot turn in a check your recall if you weren't there for the lab. So keep that in mind. And so you'll be missing out on all of those points. Plus, you'll be missing out on the points for or the information you need to pass the lab practical. Due to safety reasons, you're not allowed to bring friends, spouse, or children into the lab. If you're disruptive, i.e. talking with other students, texting, laying your head down on the desk, using the internet on laptops, sleeping, or any other activity that I feel is disruptive, and it's repetitive, you will be asked to be removed from the class. And if it's repetitive, you could be withdrawn from the class. We will actually have a sit down with the VP of Student Services on your behavior and whether or not I will allow you back into the class if I've asked you to leave for these reasons. Disrespectful, rude, confrontational, and inappropriate conduct as perceived by me won't be tolerated. So what is this? Yelling at me or being disrespectful, yelling at your lab mates, being confrontational, getting up in someone's face, cussing at someone, telling them that, they're stupid, telling them to leave you alone if they ask you a question, those kind of things. When I'm talking and giving an assignment, sitting in the corner and talking to someone, guys, I can hear you across the room, and if I can hear you, everybody else can hear you, and you're being distractive to them. Don't be a jerk. Just be quiet. You're going to have plenty of time to talk later. If you know the material, then great. You know the material. Sit there and be quiet for the people that don't know it. It's not always about you. It's about being respectful to the other people in the classroom. And I'm telling you all of this because I want you to know what my idea of the behavior expectations are, right? I can't be mad at you if you do something and I haven't told you what those expectations are. But I've made this video so you know what they are, right? Another disrespectful thing is not helping your lab mates. So this is a thing with perception, right? If you want to be a really tight-knit group and you want to work together, what do you need to do? You need to come to class on time first. You need to have your assignments done. You need to come in prepared, understanding some of the information. If you do those things, A, you're going to do better in the course, but B, other people are going to want to help you. And if it looks like, yeah, you've been doing what you need to do, but you're just confused and you're not quite sure or understanding the material, guess what? People are going to help you. But if you come in late every single day and you don't complete your assignments and you're asking other people to help you all the time because you didn't prep, they're not going to want to help you. They're going to think you are using me to make your life easier and you're not doing the same amount of work as me. They're going to think either you're not smart or you're lazy. Doesn't mean that it is. I mean, heck, your kid could have been sick. You might have overextended yourself. You might have to work a lot that week. But if those are the things that are happening, communicate that with your group. Say, guys, I'm so sorry this week. I didn't get stuff done like I normally do. My kid's been sick with the flu all week. The people are going to respect you for letting them know, and they're going to help you, as long as it's not something that's happening every single week. So keep that in mind. And also, keep in mind my perception. If someone doesn't understand something, wait to ask the person afterwards or raise your hand and ask me to explain it again. If you disrupt the person next to you, I don't know you're asking them to explain what you've missed. And the problem is I keep going, which means you're missing everything after that time that they're explaining, and you're you're deviating their attention. So if you don't understand something or you don't know it, raise your hand and ask me. If I see you talking in the corner and you haven't asked me any questions, I'm assuming that you're talking about what's happening next Sunday, or if you're going to go out drinking tomorrow, those kind of things. So remember, perception is key here, and we want to make sure that everybody has the same access to information so that we can all pass and do well. If you have any disabilities, the American Disabilities Act of 1990 was established to help you. So just contact the disability services at this number. You can go to this link to find information about it. And if you need any accommodations, please put it in ASAP. You can't email me if the test is due at 11:59. You cannot email me at 6 p.m. at night and say, hey, look, I have this disabilities paperwork. I need you to do this. Ain't gonna work. You need to give me enough time, enough reasonable time to accommodate the disability that you're asking for. If you need time and a half, you can't contact me an hour or so before the thing and then expect an extension after that. You need to contact me during the day, or you need to contact me the day before to make sure that I can put in all the proper paperwork that I need. For instance, if you need and you're going to use the testing center, I have testing center paperwork I need to turn in the day before the test. I put the testing center in for general parameters, not for disability service parameters. So keep that in mind. I will not extend due dates because you turn in your paperwork late. So please, if you have it, give it to me at the beginning of the class this first couple days, and then I will set up all the exams and everything I need to make sure that you get access to your accommodations. Campus security, call the police at 5911 if you need any help, and here are the links. Viruses talks about the antivirus procedures for our campus. Equal opportunity, we are that. FERPA, don't get your parents to email me and asking for grades. Don't have them contact me. Don't have them text me. I will not talk to them. Use D2L and Lone Star emails to communicate with your professors. Don't pirate illegally. Campus carry, if it is not allowed in a lab, it'll say so outside the front of the lab. My office is not exclusionary zone, so you can bring your gun in there. I'd appreciate it just as a matter of respect that if you do have your concealed handgun with you, just let me know. I'm not going to have a problem with it. It's just really nice to know if you have it in case something happens that's an emergency. You do not have to tell me, but it's better for you, especially if you bring it anywhere during any of our sessions, just to let me know, like I said, in case an emergency happens or anything else. But you're not required to tell me. I can just tell you, you are required, if you have it, to keep it in your backpack at all times. And to keep your backpack with you at all times. Evaluation at the end of the semester. I'll talk about that more when it comes to that. So this is the tentative syllabus, and how it is, you'll see that it's Monday through Thursday. This first Monday, you're required to go through the course introduction, and we will be going over the intro, safety video, and have you sign lab contracts, safety contracts the first day. And we will be going over lab 1, which is the lab exercise for 1.16. We're going to be doing a dissection and check your recall 1. So when we come in this first day, we're going to do the first exercise. Now on Tuesday, what you're required to do is lessons 1 and lessons 2. And so for the introduction to anatomy and physiology, you're going to have a few dynamic study modules to do and a homework. Here, you're going to have about 4 or 5 dynamic study modules to do and a homework. These are due on 6/9, which if you see, the first exam is due that next Monday, and it covers lessons 1 through 4. And so it's due Monday afternoon at 11:59, and all of these are due on Sunday at 11:59. So now to let you know what you need to do on June 5th when we come in that Monday, the pre-labs are going to be due for exercise 2. So you're going to do 2.1 and 2.3. You can exclude 2.2 because it's calculating logarithmic functions, and that's not important for this class. And so you're going to turn this in at the beginning of class. That helps you prepare for the lab exercise. And you're going to be turning in Check Your Recall 1. Now, realize on here that when we get done with this first day, I'm going to give you, basically for this class, a 7.5 because I'm not going to require you to do the pre-lab because it's the first day. So you're going to get automatic points for the pre-lab. And then when you be involved in the course, you're going to get 5 points for actually being to class. So that's 7.5 points. I can't give you the rest of the grades until I grade your Check Your Recall. So keep that in mind. Don't email me and say, well, Dr. Brazier, I did everything I needed. And you on Wednesday, or on Tuesday or Wednesday, don't email me and say, Dr. Brazier, I was there on Monday and I did everything for this first lab. How, did you not, how did you not give me all my credit that's due? Well, I haven't graded your Check Your Recall 1. So after I give back the Check Your Recalls, if the grade's not right, then bring all the material up to me during class, at the end of class, afterwards, during office hours, and I'll recheck everything to make sure I have the grades right. Now, on Thursday, you're going to be doing lessons 3 and lessons 4. Again, they're due on 6/9. And so you'll be doing chapter 3 here for the course, and chapter 4 here. Not chapter 4, chapter 24 here. And they're due 6/9. So again, the dynamic study modules and the homework. And then you'll have your exam 1 due that Monday. Now, when you come in on Monday, right, you have your next lab, which is lab 4. So that Monday, you're going to bring in your Check Your Recall for 2. The Check Your Recall exercises are actually within the lab exercises for 3, so I won't pick those up. We'll actually go through those as we go through the lab. And then your pre-lab for lab 4, right? And then the next week, we have lessons 5 and 6 due. This is chapter 26 for lesson 5, and chapter 4 and 1.5 and 1.6 for lesson 6, which includes tissue and the beginning of anatomy and physiology. These are due the 19th because if you notice, your next exam is due on the 20th. Now, then that Wednesday you come in, then you're going to have the Check Your Recall from 4 due, and then the pre-lab for 5. And then that Thursday, you're going to do lesson 7, which is chapter 5, the integumentary system. Now, Monday you'll come in, and then we'll have our first lab exam, which will cover everything from labs 1 to 5 here. And then we'll have the integumentary system. Now, to let you know, on lab exam days, I do not require that you do your pre-labs. So you don't have to worry about that. And I think from there on out, you can look and see all the different dates and when things are due. Now, if you do not want to be part of the course or ever show that this course that you ever registered for this course, you need to drop it before June 6th because that's the official reporting day. And if you don't want your grade, then you need to drop by June 27th. That's the withdrawal date. And if you look on the end here, we do have the 4th of July off. That is, we don't miss any time for our labs. And that last week, you're going to have your exam here. The endocrine system is due, your last lab practical, and then your comprehensive final is due on the 9th. So, guys, this is the generally the syllabus review. And if you have any questions, please let me know.